Do it. Do it
Do it.
now.
Do it
Get to the
now.
chopper.
Get to the chopper.
Who's your daddy and what does he do?
It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor at all. My mama says my daddy's a real sex machine. We're gonna go.
I think when we were visiting my parents, my dad still got that movie on VHS. I'm gonna like borrow it.
Kindergarten Cop?
Yeah.
That's like the best movie ever.
Who didn't have Kindergarten Cop
I'm
on
Detective
VHS?
John Kimball, and I love my car. I mean, I'm just gonna keep an eye on it for you right now. There you go. It's a great movie.
Great movie.
It's an awesome movie. Hey, did you ever meet Ryan? Meet
Yes,
Ryan.
I did.
He
He's
was
he's
your
very
filmmaker.
attractive.
I feel like you need super awesome twisty moves like this guy though.
Dude, I have actual appendages.
Yeah, but they don't spin like completely in a circle just like like that. All right, we should put that away. Well, shit, we're recording. Hey, everybody.
Howdy, guys.
Fuck.
Greetings.
Greetings,
I look like
salutations.
crap tonight. I just realized that.
You're what? Your hair's out of control.
It's late.
It's,
I got my hat. I can wear my very promotional man from
nice.
Uncle
Man
hat.
from Uncle. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. While you're figuring it out, I think I'm gonna roll the music.
Okay.
We them bad boys. Sip the cane. Yeah. C's. The anti-fab. For the aces. Let's go.
Yeah, I like
I'm
that.
very much. I have white boy moves. I have no dancing ability whatsoever.
Well, we just kind of bob. Well, we're bringing in a whole new audience, so I don't think we necessarily need to have moves because
Okay.
we got our new podcast audience who doesn't care if we have sweet dance moves or not.
Yes, tens of people.
Tens of thousands of potential followers.
Potentials. Yes.
Potential
But I
listeners.
think our actual conversion rate is in the tens,
Yeah, let's hope so. Well,
which is good for as small as our audience is currently. So
that's true. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Welcome everybody to episode 24, 4 count of watch play rate.
can't count the 24, then
Yeah,
you need to get your GED,
2
buddy.
4, which is the same number as the icon King Gifford Jr. out here in Seattle, the kid. So
God, man.
welcome to episode 24 of the Geek Dad Report, the one show dedicated, formulated, specially created to keeping all you busy people in the know and keeping your valuable time just that valuable. I am Brian, and that is Ryan, and we, as always, are here to hopefully make you laugh and inform you.
And currently tonight, I am promoting the man from Uncle because they sent me about 40 hats, and why not?
Yeah,
I got
send me a hat. I want a hat. I'll wear it.
Austin. I got a hat. Do you want me to pull out the box of man from Uncle stuff?
Sure, pull it out. While you're pulling it out, I will. I'll give out some fun. I'll give out all the show
All
stuff.
right, you do all that.
Like we were talking about just a minute ago, we are now welcoming in an iTunes audience. We are now available in podcast form. You can find us at our host website, podhell.com. You can also find us on iTunes. Just search Geek Dad Report, and we will be there. Subscribe, leave us a rating, let us know what you think about us. We would be more than happy to read what you think about us on the air, even if it sucks. We'll still read it, but hopefully it won't suck. I think you guys will say we're awesome. At least I'm hopeful. Ryan's still digging through the box. What else? You can also find us on our Facebook page, the Geek Dad Report, 3 words. Like us and hit us up, and if you have questions or you want to talk to us, we'd be more than happy to answer them. Just say hello. Ooh, that's pretty, Ryan.
Yes. So we got like a bunch of shirts. Let's see. We got some thermos.
Some thermoses. What are you doing with all that stuff? Are you gonna?
You can't see it behind me. Here, let me put all this down. I have about 7 boxes about a giant, about that size, They're all whole.
Nice.
And from like tons of different movies. So when we're going to a convention, which we'll kind of announce on probably next week, we got a big meeting with the convention, and they're giving us some space and stuff. So we'll probably just be giving it all away to people that stop by our booth and say hello. So yeah, I'm pretty much stockpiling. So I
Yeah,
got
we might
tons
have to
and
have a little meeting. Maybe we'll have to stockpile. Maybe we'll have to pull one item out of there and possibly give it away to one of our fine viewer or listening audience.
we probably could.
So all the YouTube people, you saw what Ryan was.
iPhone case.
Ooh, you saw what Ryan was messing with. Let us know. Hit us up on Twitter or Facebook and let us know which item you think would be best in your sticky little hands,
Yeah.
and you'd love us to save. So
Wait, there's one more. Where'd it go?
there you go. Well, while he's looking for whatever he's looking for, I'll also give out. You can find us on Facebook, or we already said Facebook, on Twitter. Nice sunglasses. I am Brian West 53 at Brian West 53, and you can find Ryan at Big Bruiser. How do you spell that? Was it BIGBRUSER? SR? All right.
56. I spelled it wrong when I was 13, and I thought it was cool, and I never changed my online persona since then. So, yeah, that's just kind of how it's been.
I have mine at Brian West 53 because that's my name. That's my
Well,
football
I have
number.
number 56, and that was my football number.
Yeah, 53 was my football number. Yes.
So,
High five for the athletes.
who else wore number 53, Brian? Or 56?
Who wore 56? Lawrence Taylor.
Yes. That was part of the reason why I got it.
I don't have anybody really cool who wore 53 for football. Bill Romanowski did. He was kind of a dirtbag, but he played.
Yeah.
He was a beast of a middle linebacker.
He was.
So I don't know. Let's see. Did we give out? I think we went over everything. We should talk about. I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
Did you say all the stuff while I was being a
I think
dork?
so. Let's see. I talked about iTunes. Go there, give us a rating, subscribe, please. Let us know what you think. Podhell. We talked about Podhell. You can find us at podhell.com. You can, as always, find us on our. I didn't give out the website. You can find us at watchplayread.com.
Yes,
you
we
can find
have
us-
so many avenues.
You can find us at the normal WPR shows on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe,
Fine.
people.
Find us on a street corner. We just stand there and just talk about stuff and try and like get people to surround us.
Yeah,
So
we have signs that say "We'll talk for money." Which
Yeah.
is kind of what we're trying to do.
Brian does like he's got the spinning and Brian does all the dancing.
I do. I
And,
spent.
yeah.
Oh, I spend the get one sofa for $500 and get one free. Yeah. Oh yeah. I got mad spinner moves, dude. You don't even know.
I can't wait to see it.
I think that's about
So
it.
we
That's
get
all-
started on, I think let's just get started on the news. I'm
Alright,
excited to
that's
do
it.
this.
I would like to say thank you to all our viewers who and listeners who, well, now soon to be listeners. All our viewers basically gave us a lot of feedback, and a lot of people really wanted us to get to YouTube get to iTunes and get on some kind of a podcast form. So it's up there for you guys. We do listen, and hopefully you like it and listen.
And just so you know, all you podcast people on iTunes, you are missing how glorious Brian and I look every single time we do this show.
Yeah,
So
I mean, for you podcast people, for you people on iTunes right now or on Podhell, you're not seeing me right now play with this awesome Darth Maul doll. It's super cool.
and I'm trying to square my chest up in the screen.
And
So-
Ryan is naked. Right now, Ryan has no clothes on.
and it looks amazing.
And it's
By the
beautiful. No, but we love our new podcast listeners. Hopefully we're trying to work out some kinks with the audio. We've always been a video first show, so we're still kind of getting used to some of the audio stuff. So if it's not 100% perfect, we apologize. We are working steadfast to correct it all, and hopefully in the next coming month or so, it'll all be ironed out and run like a smooth machine.
It's my job to convert all the video to audio and get all that stuff. So if anyone wants to yell at someone, yell at Brian. He should have done a better job on the video.
That's true. I should have. It all flows through me. I will take, as the host, I will take all the blame, and I'll also take all the money when we get some.
Oh crap! I knew I should have signed that paper.
That's what you get. Try to throw me under the bus. I drive the bus. All right, but seriously, thank you, everybody. Thanks to everybody who watched last week.
Appreciate it.
Last week was our, by far, our most watched video.
Yes, I think a certain musician might have had a big hand in that,
There you
but
go. There it is. Hang on.
I think we had more last week than almost every other show combined.
You
So
talking about this musician, MC Sav,
Yeah.
who so generously donated his music for our intro and outro. Hopefully, it sounds much better this week. That was a point of emphasis. So if it doesn't sound better this week,
he's literally gonna punch Brian.
he is
And
literally
we
going to punch
cannot
me.
stop him from doing
And he
that.
knows where I live, so he could drive over here and punch me in the face. I hope he doesn't, but you
Yes.
know, if it sucks,
And
you
for
should not
my-
hold
for
it
my
against
now,
him.
he-
You should buy his
he has a
album. It's on
lifetime
iTunes.
experience of punching Brian. So
Buy his album, Star Killer. Download his new song, Guardian Angel. All right, that's enough plugs. It's enough plugs. It's gonna sound great. So, thank you everybody, and let's do it. Should we go Ninja News? It's about Ninja News time.
do we need
You should
music?
stall while I cue the music here.
Oh,
You gotta
come
stall
on.
for a minute,
What's that?
just for a second.
no segue whatsoever.
What?
I'm so disappointed.
All right, let's try that again. I said stall. You gotta stall. You didn't stall very well.
I don't want to stall. Look, I knocked down my microphone. I was
Again?
so mad.
Why do you hate the microphone so much? It did
I
nothing to
don't.
you.
I have. People can't see. I keep my upper body above the line that I can see on my screen. But underneath, my hands are just constantly moving around. I'm like a fidgety.
And because you wear no pants. We already talked about this. Ryan was really excited when we heard we were going podcast because he thought we were going to go only podcast so he could finally live his dream of podcasting nude. And I said no.
Yes.
We made a show decision and said no. Sorry, Ryan.
It was, we didn't want to make it too mature for the audiences, so.
All right, well, on that note, what time is it?
Before we just transcend down farther into this hole.
It's so late. We're so tired.
We've slowly been digging this hole.
We had to thank everybody. I don't even know what we were doing. We should just start
I'm tired.
Let's just.
I had to go to my kid's soccer practice tonight. And
All right. Let's segue. What's next? What should we do? Should we just dive into the show? We have an action-packed show for you guys today. We have news. We actually have a topic of the night. We got questions, an answer segment with you viewers and listeners. We have a new kids rant who everybody loved last week. We got recommendations. We got a huge show for you guys. So I don't know what do you think we should do now?
so let's spend another 30 minutes talking about random crap, and then we'll have to just not do any of it. So
All right.
that's also another option.
We can talk about that. We had like 500 viewers this last week. We can talk about that. That was awesome. Thank you, everybody. That was so awesome. It definitely made our day.
We very much love it. We hope you guys stick around.
Yes, please stick around. Thank you.
Be a lot better next week.
We got some new subscribers. We got some iTunes subscribers. We love all of you. All right, now we're just embarrassing ourselves.
I think it's getting pretty embarrassing.
This is kind of all right. What should we do? What's the next segment, Ryan? What's our next segment we're gonna jump into?
I don't know, but I feel like it would karate chop me in the face if it didn't happen within the next couple of seconds.
What's that? You know what time that means? That means this Ninja News people. Pow! Hey-ya!
Yeah. Because we do everything so quickly on this show. We don't spend a lot of time.
Come on, you're not even moving. You're not even trying. All right. That means it's Ninja News time, people. Yeah.
Yes. When what Ninja News is theoretically, it's news that is quick and comes at you and hits you in the face and then dances away so you can marvel at the majesty of what just happened.
The can defend punch.
Yes.
Super double punch. All right.
I've been reading a lot of Ninja Turtles, so.
Yeah. And what do you think our first topic of Ninja News is going to be?
I can't tell you because nothing happened on the internet in the last 24 hours. I made a whole bunch of nerds just scream in ecstasy.
I almost killed Hulk with my lightsaber.
Oh.
All right, yeah, that's a lightsaber, people. We got Star Wars news, and we're going to start off with some. the big news. It's not even really big news. It's just squee-tastic. Is the
Yeah.
there was a new about I don't know, was it 12, 13-second
It
teaser
was
trailer released today
15 seconds.
by Star Wars for Episode 7. It was 15 seconds long. They kind of nonchalantly released it on their Instagram account, and it's freaking awesome. It
Yes.
it's got a new it's kind of got a new almost Imperial March song. I think it's going to be the New Order or the First Order March song. You saw.
It's on Instagram. It basically just like it shows, you kind of it does like a panning up view, and you get to see, the New Order and all that stuff, and then you see what's his name?
Kylo Ren ignites his lightsaber.
Yeah, and he's igniting his cross sword lightsaber,
Choo-choo.
and then what's his face?
Finn. Then you see Finn light up the blue Anakin lightsaber.
I gotta learn these people's names.
Oh, that's all right. Hey, it's okay. You got time, man. We're gonna school you. Me and Alan, one of our fellow writers and host of the Idiots Array, great Star Wars podcast. You guys should check out. But we will school you, Ryan, on
I hope so.
all the ways of the Force. But yeah, so
Well,
it's
I'm gonna start reading those books when it
yeah.
comes.
I just ordered. What Ryan's talking about, if you guys don't know, is that Star Wars. We're kind of getting a little off topic, but we're talking Star Wars, so I don't mind it. Star Wars had a whole bunch of books for a long time, and they basically scrapped them all when Disney bought the Star Wars property. And so what they've slowly started doing is reintroducing new books as the new canon for the series. And so when they have a new book coming out called was it Aftermath? I just bought it. It's going to be available September 4th. I got it on Amazon for like $18, and it's going to be at my house next Friday. It takes place right after Return of the Jedi, and it's a trilogy. It's the first of a trilogy that's going to bridge the gap between Episode 6 and Episode 7. So, but yeah, they have some other ones.
Find out what Luke's been doing, and
Yeah, you find out what Luke's been doing. Well, they have some other books. They have a book about Tarkin. They have a book about Vader and the Emperor. They have a book about Assange Ventress, and
wait, have those already come out?
those are already out right now.
Oh.
But these all kind of take
I thought
place.
the Aftermath was going to be the first one. I didn't know.
Aftermath is the first one that takes place after Return of the Jedi. All
Ah.
the other ones take place either during the Clone Wars era or right after Episode 3. So I'm I'm really excited for this one, just for the fact that, I like the Clone Wars and I like all that stuff that they're doing, but we already know about it. We've kind of beaten that to death. I'm really excited to hear some new stuff.
I want the new stuff. I want the stuff that's like, building off and nothing, so it can completely go. Wow.
This new book, Aftermath, it's the main character. It's Wedge Antilles. So you get a book about Wedge. He's captured by the new Empire or the New Order, the New Order, the old Empire, and it sounds kind of ominous for him. So I'm kind of we haven't seen him in any of the trailers, so I'm not sure he's going to make it out of this book series alive. But
Yeah.
but no, I'm very excited about that. So that's coming out. But yeah, so back to the trailer for a quick second. They had some great screenshots. Like I said, it wasn't very long, but just the whole watching Kylo Ren's lightsaber open up and Finn's lightsaber switch on, and it's clear that they're either going to do battle or they're doing an epic stare down.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. And they're like,
all the other trailers kind of give you a little nostalgia. This one gives you like a little bit of like, this is going to be badass, is what this one is going to do.
the whole movie is just people flipping on lightsabers. I would watch that.
I would watch it. I feel like they should do a symphony of just lightsabers coming on and off.
I'm sure there's gotta be something on the internet by now, just like.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. We did share the link on our Facebook page. Actually, like I said a second ago, Alan's Facebook, the Idiots Array, they actually had it before we did, and we shared theirs. But check it out. It's on our page. Give it a watch. It's awesome. Let us know what you think. A few more little Star Wars nuggets here. The Empire Magazine had a big, huge spread this week on Star Wars, and they had 2 new covers on Episode 7. They showed a whole bunch of really cool pictures, and they had a real long interview with J.J. Abrams where he gave out a lot of different little, tidbits. Like the First Order is definitely based on the Nazis. Duh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was his inspiration for this new basically empire, which seems fitting considering the old empire was based on the Nazis as well.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, the Nazis make really good bad guys in movies.
Yes, they do.
So, but the other thing that you kind of let slip that's kind of cool is Kylo Ren, one of the main bad guys, is actually not a Sith. He's going to be a Knight of Ren. which is
A night of what?
they're called Knights of Ren, which is that's who gets his last name Ren from, Kylo
Hmm.
Ren.
Oh, okay.
And so they're going to be the Knights of Ren. They're going to be an order that seems like they dabble obviously in the dark side of the Force, but they're not the Sith. So, what
Hmm.
that means to most people is probably nothing. To us super nerds,
Yeah.
it's pretty big.
Well, don't you have to like go through some kind of initiation process to be a Sith, like from another Sith? I mean,
No, it depends on what you go. I mean, it's hard to say because most of the lore about the Sith was in the books that they got rid of. So,
oh,
because they've always had in the books, they always had the rule of two, which was you had a master and apprentice, much like the Jedi's did, except for they only ever had two, so they could hide in the shadows. Because
yeah,
back in the way back times, the Sith was huge, and there was a lot of people, and they basically destroyed themselves because they were all power hungry and greedy, and
yeah.
they all wanted to be the ruler. So once the Jedi hunted them all down, they adopted this rule of two and kind of hid in the shadows. And you had one master and one apprentice, and then the apprentice would kill the master, and then once he killed the master, he'd become the master and he'd take on a new apprentice. So, um,
And
but
then
yeah,
there's
it
vicious
sounds
cycle.
yeah, it sounds like they may not necessarily do away with the Sith, but they definitely seem like they want to go in their own direction a little bit and kind of do their own thing. So I don't care. He looks awesome. It's going to be
Yeah,
awesome.
it sounds good.
I
I mean,
could
from
I could
that
literally
perspective,
sit here for an hour and talk about all my theories and all the stuff
I'm
about Star Wars.
sure the week before it comes out, we're gonna do a Star Wars episode.
Ugh, yeah,
Uh,
we're gonna have to
Just be Brian going blah, and I'll just be sitting here nodding my head.
having a
Uh-huh,
nerd
uh-huh,
seizure.
uh-huh.
um,
Remember when the
and my,
Ewoks fought the Empire?
the
Uh,
last little bit of Star Wars news that we have is some early estimates are coming out for opening weekend, and no surprise, they are predicting a monster weekend. Um,
yeah, it's if
the early
they
estimates
do that
from
in this number,
the various like polls and things that they do have Star Wars opening worldwide at $615 million.
yeah, and it would probably do 600 the next weekend.
Yeah, it's they're predicting over 300 million just in the U.S. alone opening weekend. So, the 615 would destroy the old record set by Jurassic World. I think it was 500
Old
100 million.
record from
Yeah,
2 months ago.
the really really old record by Jurassic World. So, which is actually kind of funny because Jurassic World just made some news because they're re-releasing Jurassic World in IMAX for a week starting in actually what is today? Starting tomorrow. Or the 28th. What is that? Is that Sunday?
Um,
No, it's
the
tomorrow.
Wednesday?
Yeah, today's 27th. So
Yeah.
starting tomorrow, everyone. So when you're watching this, Jurassic World will be available to watch again in IMAX theaters for 1 week.
Well, speaking of re-releases, if you are a fan of Iron Giant, the animated movie,
Oh
on
yeah.
September 30th, Fathom Events is doing it's a remaster of the Iron Giant. They're adding a scene, uh, and it's gonna be amazing. And it's from Fathom Events, and that's on September 30th.
Sweet, that'd
There's
be
only
cool.
one night, and they're doing it in theaters all across the U.S.
Oh,
So
and they're following that up with the special Iron Giant Blu-ray release. It's like the whole thing's been digitally remastered and just
yeah, I'm totally buying it.
oh yeah, oh,
And
yeah.
I'm gonna bring a box of tissues to the theater.
It's such a great movie. So yeah. So
Super bad.
the last thing of Star Wars is just to kind of just speaking of IMAX, Star Wars has blocked. I'm not sure exactly how IMAX screens and how they hold movies, but apparently you have to book IMAX for a certain amount of time, and they usually only let you run for a week or two. Star Wars has booked an entire month of IMAX, so the first month of Star Wars will all be available in IMAX theaters.
Yes. I will not see it in IMAX, but
Well,
yeah.
I believe it's not supposed to be 3D. I believe it's only going to be IMAX, which means it's just going to be louder and bigger and prettier.
My only problem is that it's so big and my vision is so small.
Oh, it's
So
hard to
I'm
see it.
sitting there like this, like watching the movie the whole time. I have to like constantly be moving my head back and forth just so I can see what's going on the whole damn screen.
I don't know. All I know is that I'm going to hopefully go see a press screener, and then I'm going to go camp
Yes.
out and watch it probably.
Which
I'm probably
no
going to buy.
press person is going to want to see. So
Yeah. All I know is if I don't get a screener for this, I'm fucking quitting. I'm throwing that out there right now. If I don't get to see this
all
movie
right,
early,
I'll talk to Jason,
I am fucking quitting.
and he might not be in Seattle anymore, so we'll have to see. So
Well, we better make something happen.
Yeah, we will.
Anyway, but I will probably see it the day it opens, probably 3 times. I'll just buy 3 tickets and just sit and just stay in the theater and just watch it. But
Just
as you can tell,
instead of going to work, just drive your work truck.
I'm taking a day off. If it comes,
Yeah.
what's it on? I think it comes on Friday. I don't know. Was it the 18th? I don't even know what day it is. Whatever day it is, I'll be there watching it.
Yeah.
Moving on from Star Wars, because like I said, we could talk about it for an hour. And I want to try
Yeah.
and keep the show short since we don't really have that much news tonight. Assassin's Creed, they're doing a movie based on the video game. Michael Fassbender's production studios basically optioned the property, and he's starring in it. We got our first look at him as the title assassin today. Yahoo Movies released a pretty cool image. We put it up on our Facebook page. Basically, just shows him as what his assassin's going to look like. He's not playing any of the assassins in the games. He's actually doing a whole new character. He's going to play Caleb Lynch in the present world, and he's going to play an assassin named Aguilar in 15th century in Spain. So, anybody's played.
I played halfway through the first one until I gave up.
Yeah, I played all the way to Assassin's Creed 3. Assassin's Creed 3.
Assassin's Crude.
Assassin's Creed 19. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about, people. Assassin's Creed 3. I played all the way to that one. I do have Black Flags downloaded on my Xbox. They gave it away for free on Games with Gold, so I'll probably play that one. But it's a fun franchise, and anybody who wants to know kind of basically what it's about, if you've never played the game, I won't get into depth.
People.
Yeah, you go around killing people, but basically, you're a person in the present. Actually, well, in the game, it's a little bit in the future, but they have a machine that allows you that if you go into the machine, you can relive the memories of your ancestors. So this guy in the future, his ancestor is an assassin from this ancient order of assassins, and they're trying to find something. So that's why he's going to play 2 different people, and it sounds like they're definitely going to stick with that aspect of this movie. So that doesn't come out till I think December of 2016, so we got a lot of time. But it's a pretty cool first image. Head to our Facebook page, you can check it out. If you're an Assassin's Creed fan, it looks pretty cool. Let us know what you think. Blade, this is kind of a rumor news floating around that came out this week. I think we reported a few weeks ago that Wesley Snipes said that he'd been in talks with Marvel about reprising his role as Blade, but no other details have been given out. It sounds like that they're going to, not necessarily, it's going to be a rebooted franchise, but kind of a continuation reboot. It sounds like they're going to start a new franchise, Blade franchise, about Blade's daughter. In the comic books, her name is Fallon Gray, so I don't know a lot about her. They have a new comic book series coming out. Apparently, they postponed it because they said it's a valuable property to them, and they have some big stuff in the works. That's why I think a lot of people are speculating.
Well, it's the movie that made that big transition from comic books, and
it showed that comic books could be cool.
I love the first. I mean, Blade was a good movie, and the other ones were just kind of more like guilty pleasure movies. But
yeah, but Blade 1 was legitimately a good movie when it came out, and I believe it came out before X-Men. I mean, it was the first one that really made you go, ooh, a comic book movie could be a serious but a really good movie. And, and then obviously we got
I didn't even know it was a comic book until after I saw the movie.
Well, most people didn't. Blade was never really like a really big property. I mean, he was known, but he was never like this, massive title-selling character. But no, he's a great. Wesley Snipes is great as Blade, and the rumor is that he would kind of continue on in the movies as his daughter's mentor, so kind of take up the same role that Whistler played in the first movie for him. So I don't know, I'd be on board with that. I think it'd be cool. Let's see, Galaxy Quest. Anybody who remembers that movie? I don't know. I love Galaxy Quest. It's kind of a spoof movie of Star Trek. It starred Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver.
Yes, it was a great movie.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Raptor's hammer.
Well, there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of rumor that it could be rebooted into another movie, or that there's been a lot of talk that the franchise would kind of get brought back up again. Well, it sounds like Amazon is actually the one that's going to do it, and they're in pre-production right now on a series, a TV series based on the show. All the original people who wrote and directed and made the movie are on board, but no word on the actors. So I don't know if it's going to be a hard reboot. I don't know if they're going to bring some of the people back, or there's not really a lot of detail on that. But if you like Galaxy Quest, it is getting a second life at Amazon. Fear the Walking Dead. If you were one of the people who watched that premiere, you were one of 10.
No. You know what happened? I recorded the first 20 minutes of it, and then it stopped.
Oh.
And I don't know what the hell happened, so I had to re-record it.
Yeah, so
And I haven't watched the ending of it yet.
I'm sure they're going to run it a lot. It's actually about an hour and a half long. It's a pretty long episode. Well, you were not one of the 10 plus million people who watched it. It is actually the largest premiere ever for a new show on cable.
Yeah, I was in full attention to being those people, except my DVR sucks balls.
I say your
So
DVR.
thank you, DirecTV, for sucking balls.
Oh, you need the genie.
I could have got a good deal when I was signing up for the Genie thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, no, I don't want to pay an extra $8 a month or whatever they were trying to con me into. And
Well, I got the genie. The genie works
Shut
pretty good. I think the genie works good. But no, Fear the Walking Dead. A lot of people kind of criticized it. It's very, very slow, which I don't know why everybody's surprised. Walking Dead is very, very slow. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I definitely think it's got a little ways to go. It's definitely got room for growth. It didn't blow my socks off, but it was suspenseful and entertaining, and it's definitely a very different series than The Walking Dead. So.
I have no input.
Yeah, check it out. If you watch it, let me know what you think. When Ryan watches it, maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more.
Yes.
I was gonna see if we were gonna do a special Fear the Walking Dead premiere show, but apparently that's out. There's no point doing that.
My bad.
Triple X3. If you like Vin Diesel in that first movie and Ice Cube in the really crappy second one.
I thought you were talking about a porno or something.
No, not a porno, not a porno. An actual movie that some people might say had the quality of a porno. Is going to start shooting in December. Vin Diesel has taken to his various social media website places and said that he's going to start, that Xander is back, who's the title character from Triple X. I don't know.
I vaguely remember the first one.
The second one was really bad, and considering the first one was really bad, that's saying something, but they're dumb, kind of fun movies. I don't know. It's about a sports junkie who runs afoul of the law, so Samuel L. Jackson recruits him to be a secret agent.
That totally happens.
It's just as hokey as it sounds, but Vin Diesel's kind of like The Rock in the aspect that most of the movies he does. At least he's entertaining, so.
Yeah, but he's not The Rock, so.
He's not. No, he is not The Rock. The Rock, I will watch anything The Rock does. Vin Diesel, the pacifier, not so good.
If it's Riddick, yes, he's got me sold for sure. It depends on the character that he's playing.
Yeah, that's true.
If I'm going to sign up for a Vin Diesel or not.
All right. The Hobbit. The movie.
What about
trilogy?
the furry-feeted?
The trilogy of movies based on a small book that the movies were already too long.
Yes.
The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, is getting an
Yeah.
extended edition version. And it's going to be rated R. It's 20 minutes longer.
All right, so these each get their own movie. This gets 3 movies.
No, it gets 3 movies and an extended edition finale.
Yes.
That's rated R. I don't care. I really just don't care. But any of you Hobbit fans, you get to watch 20 more minutes of rated R
I
Hobbit.
have not watched any of the Hobbit movies. I have them all on my DVR.
It's rated R,
I
so
cannot find 3 hours to save my life.
maybe Hobbit fans will finally get some sweet Hobbit on Hobbit action. I don't know.
Ooh.
It's rated R. Let's see here. Last couple things we got for you guys tonight. Apple is having their annual fall event September 9th. A lot of people are speculating it is the iPhone 6S. You are now part of the dark side of the Force, Ryan, so you do not get to make those gestures anymore.
Hey,
How's that iPhone treating you, Ryan? And that iPad that you love so much that we were just talking about how great it is before the show started. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I did not.
Yes, you
Nope.
did. Yes, you don't you lie. I have an app for that. It can tell me that you're lying right now.
Crap.
So anyway,
My phone is servicing me just fine.
September 9th, if you're excited, if you're waiting for the new iPhone, like I am,
Not me.
that means probably
I have an
the week
iPhone
after
6
we'll be able to
Plus.
get iPhones. New iPhones. No, whatever. So,
This
September
thing
9th.
is so freaking huge. I used to be able to take my, I have an arms thing for when I'm working out.
Mm-hmm.
How am I supposed to strap like a 6-inch long freaking thing to my bicep when I work out? Look how it's too big.
Oh. Whoa, we're getting an echo.
Ah, echo.
Echo. All right, better.
Eh.
Told
It's
you we're,
probably
getting,
my fault.
we're gonna fix it.
It's
Fix it, people.
Apple's fault.
It's Ryan's fault. It's the iPhone. No, it's not the iPhone's fault. It's your fault. Nintendo is exploring the idea of once again using their video game properties to make movies. So they made Super Mario Brothers a long time ago. It was absolutely awful.
It was awesome.
No, it was
It
terrible.
was awesomely awful.
Oof,
But
I don't know. It was pretty bad. But they have never let anybody use their property since.
I liked the TV show.
Well, I meant for
Mario
the movies.
TV
But
show.
we may be getting a Zelda movie in the future, or Star Fox, or something like that. So.
I would
not-
watch the heck out of Zelda one.
Not really any details on it, just basically that it might be happening. So I don't know. I like Nintendo. I don't really play Nintendo much anymore, but I like a lot of the properties. They got some cool stuff.
From what I've read, they're basically saying that they're tossing out the ideas, and the producers, whoever, gotta really wow them over, and then like extra wow them over in order to make them do it. So it's
Yeah.
they gotta be very solid movies if they're even gonna.
I just want to see a Zelda movie. Last week we talked about fantasy, and I think Zelda would be an awesome fantasy epic movie.
Mm-hmm.
So
Especially
please,
did, like what was the one on Nintendo 64 where you had the flute?
Arconia of Time.
Yeah, that's it.
That was a great. That was the first one that had like the rumble pack, because when you were running around with your horse, when you got near loot, it would vibrate.
Dude, what was that one level where you had to fight the giant hand thing? That thing was freaky as hell. It would like come out of the ground. You're in that
I
well.
remember that, but I don't remember what the level was.
You're like in the well, and like the giant hand would come out, like in your rumble pack, going, and I was a kid.
That thing went through batteries like nobody's business, though. And then the last thing we got for everybody is Captain America 3: Civil War. So this is kind of more of just a announcement, a warning announcement. Right now, somebody grabbed a hold of a piece of concept art that shows who is on whose side. So if you don't know what the movie's about, Captain America and Iron Man are duking it out. They have drawn lines on registration and.
Well, we're assuming registration.
Well, we're assuming registration, but half the heroes are going to side with Captain America and half are going to side with Iron Man. Well, this concept art apparently shows who's siding with who, and some jerkface released it online, and it spread like wildfire. Now there's lots of websites who are reporting, basically spoiling the movie in a lot of ways. So I have not looked at it. Ryan hasn't looked at it.
But the lawyer teams are out in full force, and anybody hosting that image is kind of getting a cease and desist order.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you want to know, it's out there. You can find it. If you don't want to know, just be aware that a lot of sites are running stuff that's not very spoiler free, and they're kind of luring you in with clickbait. And
yeah. Or if you have that one friend that's on Facebook that's a dick, and they just like to post that kind of stuff, you just scroll through it really fast.
unfriend him.
Yes, unfriend that asshole.
And send him a picture of your ass with a finger. No, that sounded
No.
bad. I meant
No.
like flipping somebody off.
No.
Not...
This is why Brian has a very small group of friends. It's because
Okay, this is
he
why
sent
everyone's
so many
unfriended me.
pictures.
Except for Ryan. He's my only friend. Alright, well, that's it. That's it for news.
Thanks for not sending me a picture of your asshole. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, you're the last friend I got left, and you're my co-host. It'll be back to Lonely Town if I'm sitting here by myself again.
Yes.
That's alright. I always got this, Ryan.
Just be aware. Civil War is out there, and if you don't want to spoil, Brian and I we're not even trying, and we're doing a great job. So
No, we're not even trying, and we're doing a great job. So I want to be excited and entertained and spoiler free as you can be. Come, I don't know, was it March or April when it comes out?
yeah,
That's it.
do it like official capacity at some point. But
Well, that's all the news we got.
uh,
Boom.
Yay.
Ninja news over. We talked
Ninja
more than
News got shell shocked.
Yeah, we didn't really fly through that, but there was some decent topics to talk about. So whatever. We should move on to. Do you want to do our topic of the night?
Yeah, let's do the topic.
All right, let's keep it kind of
I have
short
a
though.
feeling we might rant a little extra. So
Yeah, we'll try and keep the topic to about 5 minutes. So our topic of the night is me and Ryan have been reading a lot of the Walking Dead comic books, and Ryan's especially been trying to get caught up. And we both kind of come to the dilemma of the comic books are starting to overpass the TV show, and so it got us talking about stuff like Game of Thrones and the Harry Potter books when the movies were coming out, and what should we do first? What is the rule? What should we do first? Should you read the source material first? Should you read the books, read the comics, and then enjoy the show after the fact? Or should you enjoy the movie or the show and then read the source material? What is a better experience?
I think there's one way of looking at it is what did you start doing first? Did you, like for The Walking Dead? I hadn't read any of the comic books until I read the first compendium about on season 3, like when they were somewhere around the prison, and then I didn't read anything after that. And after getting my new iPad and putting Comixology on it, that a lovely friend of mine shared with me, they actually have a lot of The Walking Dead, and it goes exceedingly past where we are at, on the TV show. And so I've read currently right up to where the TV show is, exactly at the point. And being the book reading person that I am, I want to read the next 5 volumes that are on Comixology. But I've been enjoying how the show surprises me, and then going into the comic and seeing the differences, and which character was actually doing which part, and all that. So that's been my big dilemma with just at least from the Walking Dead standpoint. Should I read past it and then I'm kind of ruining the show, or should I be patient?
Yeah, I think with The Walking Dead in general, I think, at least for me, The Walking Dead early is so much different in the comic books than the show that you can really enjoy the comic books and the show as 2 separate entities. But I think right now where they're at, some of the characters are dead that are alive on the show, and some of them are alive on the show that are dead in the comic, and those things are different, but the stories are the same. Certain people, certain people die in certain ways that are maybe different, but they still die the same way in the. So like for instance, anybody who hasn't watched the show, we are going to talk a little spoilers here on Walking Dead, but spoiler alert, people, I'm going to talk a little bit. So when Herschel gets his head chopped off by the governor, in the comic books, Herschel's still alive, and that's actually Tyrese that gets his head chopped off in the comic books. But it's different characters, and they die at different points, but somebody still got their head chopped off. So certain specific points were happening in both the TV show and the book, and I found that I was reading ahead a little bit in the comic, and then I found out, when Bob got his leg eaten by the cannibals, and
and Dale,
that was Dale,
and I had no idea it was Dale.
And Dale was still alive. And so the problem for me is that was the point when I quit reading the comic books, because I knew that Bob was going to get his leg chopped off and eaten by the cannibals, because that is exactly what happened in the comic book. So the storylines are starting to match up really, really close to the show. It's just some of the characters have been changed. So for me, I enjoy the show so much that I don't want it to be spoiled. The same thing with the Harry Potter books. I watched the movies before I read the books, but I was caught up by the time the 7th movie came out, and the book had already come out, and I didn't read it on purpose because the movies were really good, and I really wanted to enjoy them. And I have found, at least in my experience, anytime I have read the property first, with the exception of Jaws, the movie was better than the book, but and Jurassic Park, 2 movies the movies were better than the book in my opinion. But other than that, every time I've read a book first or a comic book series first, I've always been disappointed with the movie. The comic books tend to follow closer to the movies. So like I'd already read Watchmen, and I really could enjoy the Watchmen movie. But like the Harry Potter books, they're not even remotely the same as the movies. In fact, in a lot of ways, they're 2 very separate. They're very different in everything. I mean, at the core, they're the same characters and they do the same things, but there's so much more to the books that I feel like if you read the books after the fact, you can enjoy the movies, and then you can enjoy the books and the comic books as their own thing. Where if you read them first, you won't enjoy the TV show as much. So,
well, from that standpoint, I've been reading Game of Thrones books for the last 7 or 8 years. or at least when I started getting into it. I think it was about 8 years was when I started reading them. And when the next book comes out, I don't really care what point of the next season it's in. I'm going to be reading the book, immediately, just because, from for that series, I've always been a fan of the books first and then the show second.
Oh, Jay, did
So,
you hear? Did you hear real quick? George R. R. Martin just released today. Well, released a statement today, to
uh,
Entertainment Weekly, that Stannis Baratheon is alive and well in his new book.
what? That can't be possible.
Yeah, he said Stannis Baratheon is alive in his book, in his new book. I haven't read. I'm not caught up.
Interesting.
So, spoiler alert.
Kind of got his ass beat.
Well, anyway. I don't know.
But yeah,
He's dead as a doornail on
maybe
the TV show.
maybe that fares well for Jon Snow as well.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, everybody keeps, all the showrunners, they came out again today and said that Jon Snow is dead. You know what? We all know Jon Snow is dead. What we all want to know is Jon Snow coming back. That's a totally different question.
Yeah, that's such an easy thing to say. Like, yes, he died. You saw it on the
He's
episode.
dead. Dead is
Did
dead
you
is
see the
dead.
episode? He died.
We know.
And
We're not disagreeing that Jon Snow is dead. We want to know if Jon Snow is coming back to life. He is. Spoiler alert, he's coming back. He's coming back.
But back on topic, I think it's like I was trying to say earlier. If whatever medium you started on will probably be the one that you are probably more inclined on reading or watching first. But I think, like you said with The Walking Dead, it's kind of like the very beginning of the comic and the show are fairly different. But like I said, it's in the last 2 seasons at least. The stories are almost exactly spot on, just reversal of characters.
Yeah.
And obviously, Daryl character is not even close to being anywhere in the book. So that's like the one thing that's been really different.
He's been in the comics for a few issues now. We're just not that far ahead yet, but I think there's almost like 100 issues between where the show is and where the comic is right now. So yeah, the comic's way far ahead right now, but
yeah.
Also too, I think I also think that depending on what medium you like best is what you're going to get the best experience out of. So if you prefer books to movies, read the books. You're going to enjoy it more than you watch the movies. If you prefer the movies, then watch the movies, then read the books afterwards, so you can enjoy whatever your preferred medium is. Read it or watch it in that form, and then then check out the other form. Me personally, like I said, I always think you should watch whatever is out first and then go back and revisit it, and you can have a completely different, another fun experience. Ryan believes that whatever you start with is what you should finish with. So there you go.
Yes. I think that was a good topic.
We hope we settled that for anybody who had that question.
Yeah.
If you have a topic,
something to think about.
Or give you something to think about. Exactly. If you have a topic that you'd like to hear me and Ryan discuss, feel free to hit us up on Twitter or on our Facebook page and let us know. Or you can email us, or if you're our friends or family, you can call us.
Email us at gdr@podhell.com.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got a new email address. Sweet.
Yes, we have an official email address. Thanks to the
official
fine people at podhell.com.
And if you didn't know that, then you did not listen to the first 12 minutes of the show where I babbled like a fool about all the cool stuff we were doing.
Well, Brian was talking about that stuff, and I was just pulling stuff out of a box.
I don't know about you, but I am very excited. It feels like progress. It feels like we're
awesome.
We're like a big boy show. And plus, it's just cool to tell people, hey, you can find us on iTunes.
That actually carries weight.
That does carry weight.
You find
makes people think you're legit.
When you're like, damn, I should have brought some extra money for this hamburger that I was going to eat. And you're like, I got to go check my show on iTunes. And be like, oh, you have a show on iTunes? Here's your free food.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't gotten free food yet, but if you work at a food place and you'd like to give us some, we'd be more than happy to eat it.
As long as it's not McDonald's or Burger King, I don't like to eat at those places.
Jack in the Box.
Dude.
Yeah.
Whenever we're
sourdough jacks.
If everyone doesn't know, I live in Utah, and we usually drive up to Seattle once or twice a year to visit my family and stuff. And the first stop we do when we hit Idaho, Jack in the Box. Doesn't matter what time in the morning, because 24 hours a day. Nothing says awesome like 3 o'clock in the morning eating a sourdough jack and then going right back to bed.
Oh
Or
yeah.
right back to sleep when my wife has to keep driving.
Oh
So,
yeah. All right, so let's
yes,
see. Moving
I think
on.
we have a good rant. I want to rant.
Well, we do have a good rant. Now, the question is, do you want to run a little long tonight and do the rant, or do you want to save the rant for next week?
What's our time frame?
Well, we're at about 50 minutes, so we could do a 10.
Oh
we
my
could do
God.
it. We could probably do a 5 or 6 minute rant.
Oh my God, it's midnight.
What do you want to do?
What are we doing? Screw it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, our rant tonight, our rant about our children tonight is
Yeah.
why in the holy hell do children leave you alone until you try and have an adult conversation or answer your phone, and then they are on you like flies on shit.
Yes.
And they will not leave you alone until they have somehow managed to suck all of your attention.
And then ask you the most stupid freaking question in the world
Yeah,
that they know the freaking answer to.
that's a pretty long title of a rant.
Yeah.
We'll shorten that up for the written version. But I don't know.
We gotta break it down.
Oh my God, why are they awful? They are so bad. Your kid can be watching a movie, halfway through the movie, completely enamored with it, and all of a sudden your phone vibrates. Doesn't even ring, just vibrates, and you pick it up and you don't even get to say hello before all of a sudden they're both, I got 2 kids, both attached to your legs. Dad, I gotta go to the bathroom. Dad, can I have a drink of water? Dad, what's for dinner? What's going on here? Can we walk the dog? My pants are missing. What's going on? Is that gum in my hair? Dad, who are you talking to? Is that Grandma? Can I talk to Grandma? No, shut up.
My wife and I more get it. It's like the kids will be doing something, in the living room. We just eating dinner, and we'll let them watch like a half-hour show before bedtime, and I'll be in the kitchen washing a dish or something, and my wife will come in. We'll start talking about something that we wanted to talk about earlier, but the kids were being freaking annoying, and then without fail, the kids start fighting, or there's been peaceful. Or, my daughter will come walk in the kitchen. I want some water. What are you doing? And then, just like stand there and totally disrupt what we're trying to do. And then we have to yell at them. And then they start crying because we're yelling at them. And, all we want to do is talk about, a serious topic. And
See, your kids are way more passive aggressive about it than my kids. My kids are aggressive about it. I kind of wish they would just cry, because like my kids, and you try talking over them and their octane just gets louder and louder and louder, and until the point where they're literally screaming at each other, and you cannot have, like you said, you cannot have a conversation with your wife who is a foot in front of you, and you're staring at each other, and you both just have like murderous rage in your eyes, and you start getting that kind of parent twitch where you're like,
well, it's harder for us because my wife spends at least 3 hours a day just driving the kids to and from school.
mm-hmm.
Because they both go to school in the morning. She got to drive back home, pick up my daughter from the morning school, take her back home, pick up my son from afternoon. So usually, like, the only time we really get to talk and have a conversation is when I'm in the car with her. And, the kids will be in the back, and, obviously you can't have like a super serious conversation, but we'll try and, get some stuff figured out while we're in the car. Then all of a sudden they're like punching each other. And then you gotta look in the back and say, you can look out your fucking window. Don't even look at each other. Imagine that the space between your 2 seats is a no-touch zone. Doesn't work. Or the worst thing is my oldest, my son, he will not be paying attention to something, or not be touching it, playing with it, whatever. My daughter will go to pick it up and look at it, immediately wants it. That's my part.
We'll
It's been in the car for 6 months. You haven't said it once. It's been on the ground half the freaking time, and someone else picks it up, and now you want it. And you guys are starting to fight, and I'm trying to talk to your mom about, the bills or something. How
we could have a whole separate rant on kids fighting over something that neither one of them gives a shit about, but oh god,
throwing garbage. That's
my kids were fighting once. So I have iPads. They each have an iPad that we use for travel, and we got these little headrest things that we can slide the iPad in the back of the headrest.
Yeah.
And so I've got that Disney Anywhere app. So they have the same exact movies, right? Exact same movies on both their iPads. One will be watching Frozen, the other will be watching Big Hero 6. First, they'll start fighting over whose is louder. I can't hear mine because Charlie's watching Big Hero 6. Well, I can't watch Big Hero 6 because Addie's listening to Let It Go. And
Dude,
so
that's why you gotta get them headphones. You don't have headphones?
not yet, but so they start turning they
Yeah.
like start turning it up to compete against each other, and then finally
Yeah.
they're like, "I want to watch Big Hero 6. Why does she get to watch Big Hero 6? You have Big Hero 6. You asked to watch Frozen, but I don't want to watch Frozen anymore. I want to watch Big Hero 6. So then you put it on Big Hero 6, so they both have Big Hero 6, and then they start
But then
fighting
like
because
the audio's all off.
the audio's off. But then my youngest starts getting mad because she was watching it first.
Valid point by Charlie, by the way.
Oh my God! So like I said, that's a whole separate matter. we could talk about that for days. But I mean, as far as when you try and talk, it is so frustrating. I feel like as a parent, you cannot have one single stinking adult conversation like at all. I mean, you
No,
can't.
and even when they go to bed, and by the time like they're asleep, and you have some time to like be with your wife or your husband and have that conversation, you completely forgot about it, and you're mentally exhausted. And all you want to do is just watch like your husband wife show together, and then go to bed, and then the next day by the time you remember, oh shit, we gotta talk about this thing. The kids are awake again. They're gonna fuck up your whole situation.
I can't even shower in peace. I will shower. It'll be shower
Dude,
time.
I would love to not get interrupted when I'm taking a dump or something like that.
I just want to get out of the shower at like 9 o'clock my time, and not have my daughter all of a sudden in there staring at me, yelling at me, "What, Daddy? You don't have any clothes on." Yeah, I know, because I just got out of the fucking shower. Because it's my time. It's not your time. It's my time.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be in bed. Well, they put their hand on
Or
the
they're
bed and
like
they just
sticking
like,
their
well,
hand
hi.
underneath the door, and you can see their fingers. Like, yeah, that's cute, like the first time, but
The-
when they're like be sliding stuff under there, and you're like, just leave me alone.
Just leave me alone. We had to.
Yeah.
We,
You make Daddy an alcoholic.
yeah, pretty much, dude. I mean, here's a little bit of overshare. Sometimes before me and the missus have some happy time, I have to check under the bed to make sure my daughter hasn't snuck out of her bed ninja style and crawled under my bed.
Dude,
I have a ritual. I have to check under the bed and in the closet.
After we heard about your situation at one time, I have to physically get up before anything happens, go to the door, make sure everything is secured and locked.
You mean
And
the
then I can turn around
situation?
and jump in bed.
You mean the situation where I forgot to lock the door one time?
Yeah.
Yeah, people, you can
Because
just
you
use your
didn't do that.
imagination.
I have to check my door every single time
Just
now.
use your imagination on why you want to lock the door, and you don't want your kids catching you. It was. What are you guys doing? Are you wrestling? Yeah. Oh my God!
It cracks me up.
As a parent, I love my children. I love them so much, but I just want to have one adult conversation a day that isn't interrupted by flying food or something
But
they
we
think
have
is
to remember,
hilarious.
though, there's going to be a point where they couldn't care less about what our lives are and what we're doing, and we're just going to be like the losers that they don't want to even hold our hands or stuff anymore. So I try and have that viewpoint that this time will, it
I
is.
know.
What it is.
I don't want to. I don't want to have to shower with like a bodysuit on anymore because I want to, because my daughter
You
is
got
going
to
to be
wear your
standing there.
swim trunks in a shower.
I feel like I'm in an episode of Children of the Corn sometimes. They just appear out of nowhere and they just stand there and stare at you like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And you're like, what are you doing in here? Get out.
Yeah, like, girl, I'll just be giving my wife a hug. It's like we'll just be having like a moment where we're just like giving each other a hug, and my daughter somehow coming out of nowhere and like squeeze in between us.
Dude, they're like, and they never come over. They just appear. You'll be
Yeah.
talking, and all of a sudden you'll just be like, "What's going on? Ah, where'd you
Yeah.
come from?" You know?
No, you cannot have. You just ate dinner. You don't get.
Have you ever gotten
extra
this?
dessert.
You're having a conversation and they don't come start screaming, or you're on the phone talking and they don't come yell, but then all of a sudden they decided to take that moment to do everything they're not supposed to. Like everything. They just
Yeah.
and they find like dangerous objects. It's like they find scissors and knives. It's like, where the hell did you get this from?
Yeah.
I hid it in
Or
my
they
room
start like wailing on each other.
because they're hoarders.
Mostly my kids, they'll take that opportunity just to start. My daughter has a very high pitched scream, so she'll just start.
Oh, and there is nothing worse.
He won't stop looking at me. Like, well, you know what? It's a free country. You can look wherever the fuck you want. And
There is literally nothing worse than that high pitched scream that a child does. Not the one like I'm in danger.
they
The
don't
one
do
like
it because they're in danger. They don't do it because someone's stealing them from you, or they don't do it when they're actually physically hurt. It's because someone gracefully touched them on the shoulder, and it was their sibling that did it.
my favorite is my daughter's starting to tell us now that all we do is talk on the phone. I mean, you will have one conversation on the phone in a 3-hour span, and the moment you get off the phone, all you do is talk on your phone.
Yeah, I haven't had that. They always say that I'm a mean dad,
Oh, yeah.
and for some reason they were saying I overreact about stuff, and I know for a fact that I am not the biggest overreactor in the family. It is my son.
They're starting to use words they're starting to use words that they don't even understand.
They're all like, "Yeah, Dad, you're the meanest, and you always get mad over nothing." Like, well, you know what? I'm sorry. I've been having 5 years of you guys fighting over stupid bullshit,
My
and then
daughter,
you cry when I decided, you know.
my daughter's starting to say everything we do is rude. I find that rude.
Yeah, but they still respond to my dad voice whenever I gotta use the big booming, you know.
All right, we better reel it in. We're gonna start talking about everything.
I don't know. We'll rant about way too much stuff.
We love our children to
When
death.
mom and dad are talking, leave us the fuck alone and go find something else to do. We will take care of you as your parent when we are done.
When Mama walks in the door, Daddy wants to talk to my wife, my beloved wife, for 5 damn minutes without you screaming at me, trying to light your sister's hair on fire, trying to murder the dog, eat poison, or drown yourself in the goddamn toilet.
Yeah.
Do none of those things for 5 minutes. while I'm
And we
talking
will give you all the love.
to your mother.
We'll take care of all your needs.
And then when we spend an hour watching Ninja Turtles with you, or playing Legos with you, or doing whatever with you, when you guys go off and do your own little thing, and I suddenly say, you know what? I've got 15 free minutes before I got to put you in the bath. I think I'm going to update the Geek Dad Report Facebook page. Leave me the fuck alone. Don't immediately come over because you see I have my phone and start throwing shit at me. Daddy's trying to make money so y'all can go to a good college. Leave me alone.
Daddy doesn't want you to have to get student loans because you're just going to be trapped in it for the rest of your life.
Oh, Daddy's trying not to be a delivery driver until he's 60. All right.
But
Well, I think that about covers it.
I think that was good.
That was good. I feel better.
I felt like we're gonna have to figure out a way to contain these things because we can just we're about to just
I think
explode.
I think the hoarders was a very specific topic. I think your children interrupting you can go in a lot of different directions. So, well, people, this is still a work in progress for us too. So we will finally tune these as we go, and we'll try and have a little more specific. But hopefully, if you're a parent, you laughed at what we had to say and can, you know, kind of feel like we do and empathize with our suffering.
Sharing our pain.
Let
us know about your pains.
And
feel
feel free.
Do our best to say they're there.
Feel free They're there, yes. And feel free to let us know your experiences, and feel free to tell us your stories. If you got a good crazy kid story, let us know. We'll share it on the show, or we'll just laugh amongst ourselves and
whatever you're more comfortable with. But
whatever you're more comfortable with. And
speaking of people leaving us notes and things,
yeah,
we should probably move on to our
Oh man,
Q&As.
that was a fantastic transition, Ryan. You are
Yes. Sometimes I do serve a purpose on the show, and I
you
like to think that I save it all up for one moment.
you have impressed. That is amazing. I'm feeling really good right now. All right. So let's see what we said. So our first question of the night comes from Brian. Brian also is one of our new subscriber on iTunes. He shot me a message and let me know that he's been listening. And so, Brian, thank you very much. We very much appreciate it.
Brian.
And thank you for your question. He wants to know what's the first thing we'd buy if we won the lottery.
Uh, I think if we're gonna go, because we're both dads, you know that the first thing you're doing is that your wife is gonna take all your lottery winnings and probably book like a Disney World vacation. So just right off the bat, we both know that we're probably going to be going to Disney World, Disneyland at some point with the money.
That's
I
fine.
think for a personal, um, I would buy myself a wicked awesome computer with like dual giant monitors, and I probably wouldn't even know what to do with it. But that would just fulfill a guilty pleasure that I've always wanted to have. So,
So the first thing, you're probably right. We'd probably have to go on some family vacation. I would at least talk my wife into going to Disneyland France, so at least it's something different.
ooh,
But
oh yeah, I would totally travel. Just
yeah, we would travel.
go everywhere.
The first thing I'd probably realistic. Okay, so we'll give the realistic and then what I'd actually do with my money. So the realistic thing, I'd probably have to. My wife and me would probably go buy a nice big piece of property somewhere and build a big awesome house. I'm sure that's what she would
Oh
do.
yeah,
That's what we would
those
do
those are
first.
like the obvious. Those are the obvious. You're gonna buy a new car.
Travel. If
You're
you're
gonna buy a new house.
gonna buy a new house, now if we're talking like,
Oh.
what am I gonna do with my money?
Yeah.
Well, first thing I'm doing is I'm going down to California and I'm figuring out how much money it's going to take to get J.J. Abrams to let me watch Star Wars 7 now.
I'm sure $1 million will get you that.
I'll make it rain, J.J. I'll make it rain.
Oh,
And then I would buy a 80-foot luxury yacht, and then we would all sail back from California drinking Cristal and Dom Perignon all the way back to Seattle.
smoking some Cuban cigars.
Oh, yeah, smoking Cubans, drinking $300
Thanks for
bottles of
lifting that
scotch.
trade embargo, Obama. Because now we can
Yeah,
get
oh, that's
Cuban.
right. Yeah, we can go to Cuba.
Yeah.
Get some cohibas. So that's what I would do. I would try and talk JJ into giving me unbridled access to the new movie, and then I'd like to just buy a big boat that we could all just go party on and
Yes.
sail around the Caribbean and the Mediterranean.
I fully support this fantasy.
And then I would buy an Iron Man suit.
I would probably go with. I don't know. Iron Man's hard to say. Maybe Ant-Man, just for sure shits and giggles.
That's true.
That's
true. Actually, you know what? I'd build a robotics company just so I can make
I
the
would have
first.
someone install actual Wolverine claws into my hand.
Well, unless you had an adamantine healing factor, it would just kill you.
Yeah.
I don't think money can buy mutant powers. Sorry, Ryan. I hate to be the crusher of dreams. But tell you what, if we win together, we can buy a robotics company and we can get them to make the
But we have
world's
to win at
first.
separate times. If we win together, then we're splitting that big pot in half.
Okay, well, we're gonna go in together somehow and buy a robotics company and build the
Okay.
first nanny, robo nanny that can raise our children.
That sounds good. Then
All
we can have
right.
conversation.
So our next question comes from Chris from Washington. He had kind of a serious question, so
Serious face.
he had a serious. Wow, we got actually. You know what? I just checked the Facebook post. We actually got a new viewer, or a new listener who submitted a question. So we'll do theirs too. Chris wants to know. It's kind of a topic, but also a question. It has to do with violence. Basically, I'll read his statement. Violence in movies and other forms of media in America. Or in other forms of media in America. Countless people love movies, games, and music with endless amounts of violence or volatile references. Yet when a homicidal maniac guns down a news crew, we can't seem to find answers or understand why. When do we start moving away from violence, and are we too late? So obviously he's referencing the terrible tragedy that happened earlier this week where a news lady and her cameraman were gunned down by a crazy ex-employee who said Jesus told him to do it. So or God more specifically told him to gun them down. You know, we're parents. Most of the time we try and keep it light. Every now and then we will touch base on something serious. But Chris, we're a violent society. We're
Violence
a
is
violent people. I don't think violence is ever going to unfortunately be out of our society. I don't think movies are necessarily any more violent. Well, I guess they are somewhat more violent, but have we become more accustomed to violence? Yes, we have. I mean, we've become a little desensitized to violence in media and
Don't
video
say
games.
naughty words.
But I don't believe necessarily that's what's leading to a lot of these, violent crimes. I mean, obviously, without getting into a massive debate on guns, I mean, obviously it's an issue. We have the highest, we have, well, one of the highest gun, crime rate in the world. And something has to be done. We can debate on what needs to be done, but at some point something has to be done. But at the end of the day, it is people who use the guns who kill people. And unfortunately, I think a lot of me personally, I believe that a lot of our parenting and a lot of our social structure has been broken down to the point where there's no infrastructure for people to get help. Our mental facilities are all shut down for the most part. Most mental facilities are now privatized. I can't even think of any public health facilities anymore. If someone has an issue, they just lock them up and throw them in jail. But you can't throw a guy in jail who hasn't done anything, even if he's acting crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a system that has to be completely restructured from the ground up, and it has to have a complete different emphasis on, like you said, from what their current thing is, that they can't give someone help unless they've done something bad. And some of these people don't necessarily want to do something bad, but that's the only way they're going to be able to get help. You know?
Well, and exactly, and most people, most prisons don't even have mental health, treatment centers in them. I mean, they lock them up, they throw them, throw away the key, and then they let them back out, and they haven't been rehabilitated at all. Or if it's a massively violent crime, they never get out in the first place. So, unfortunately, taking away guns isn't necessarily the answer, because crazy people are still going to get knives or whatever. But at the same time, we do have to try and help limit the amount of access that these crazy people have, and only 2 weapons. And we have to try and do the best we can to help crazy people so they don't do something violent.
And I think it's for people to try and pin it on movies or video games or anything like that. I've grown up. One of the first movies I watched was Predator when I was a kid, and
I never wanted to rip out someone's spine.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go start making booby traps and killing people. It all comes down to how you are raised.
Yeah.
And if you're raised in in a single parent household or a 2-parent household, it doesn't matter. It's how you're raised. It's the type of person that you're gonna be. I mean, mental health, obviously, you can't change that aspect of it, but people just need to start taking more responsibility for their action as parents.
Yeah.
And start having more of an active role. And so like my son plays a game called Skyrim, and it's got a little bit of blood and stuff in it, and sometimes like our fantasy character will chop a dude's head off or something like that. But my son sits on my lap when we do it, and we talk about it, and I say, this is a game, this is just it's fantasy, and none of this is obviously stuff that applies to real life, and he completely understands that. So it's just a matter of perspective on how you gotta let these young adults and people know. I mean, it's a hard thing to talk about, honestly.
Yeah, I know it is, and honestly, as parents,
I think the South Park movie does it perfect.
Yeah, South Park movie does a good job. I mean, honestly, video games and songs and stuff, can it push somebody over the edge? I doubt it. Maybe, if somebody's crazy, a game like Grand Theft Auto, maybe it's going to trigger even more craziness. But I'll be honest, violence has been around since the dawn of man, and even before they had movies and games, they had books. And look no further than the Bible, probably one of the most violent books in the history of mankind. I mean, if you've ever read it, there's a lot of death and destruction going on in the Bible. So it's not like
God gets straight up pissed off at everyone, just floods the whole world, and
kills women and children and babies, and I mean, violence in the media and violence in what we consume has been around forever. but to like what Ryan was saying is we as parents have to really take the initiative, and we have to really raise our children right to understand the difference between what they see and what is real, and also too what is right and what is wrong, and have the strength that if as parents we notice that maybe there's something a little bit off with our child, that we get the help they need to make sure that they can regulate whatever is inside of them, so that they don't grow up and become maniacs and homicidal maniacs. And as adults, one of the things we can do as voters is we can tell our constituents that we want more mental health facilities. We want them to spend money to build these places to help people instead of just throwing everybody in jail. So, unfortunately, there's no easy answer to violence. I know a lot of people like this. I talked to some of my friends, and one of my friends is a big gun guy. And my stepmom actually works for Glock, so she's a big gun advocate too. And they're both very responsible gun people. And unfortunately for them, every time something like this happens, everybody wants to throw away the guns. That's not an answer either. Just because people are bad drivers, you can't take away their cars. But what you can do is make sure that every person who drives a car has a license to do it and knows what they're doing. So, I mean, It's not an easy answer. There's a lot of things that have to happen, but what we need to do as parents is to make sure, like you said, Ryan, raise your children right, make sure they get treatment if you notice something off with them, and as adults, we need to, need to make sure we're talking to our congressman and asking for more mental health.
Don't be afraid to have a freaking conversation with your kid. Kids are not as stupid as you could think they can be. If it's a serious thing that you want to talk to them about, just talk to them about it. And if they don't understand it at first, just come back a week later and bring it back up, and just keep approaching it in a way that works for your child. But you can't not have the conversation because you don't want to do it and because you might feel awkward about it.
And obviously try and do age appropriate things. Don't let your 3-year-old watch Predator. Or don't let them,
Hey, I was at least 10.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Aliens when I was 9, scared the hell out of me. I watched Jaws when I was 8, and I hate the ocean.
Dude, that movie made it so I couldn't swim in rivers.
I couldn't swim in pools when I was a kid. I used to think that somehow a shark was going to swim through the little tube and jump out and eat me.
Yeah, or I would feel like a piece of seaweed from the river touch my leg, oh.
All right.
Anyways, that was a great question.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. That was a great question. Hopefully, we try to answer the best. We answered the best we could. Unfortunately, it's a very complex question. So, Lori, we got a second female questionnaire.
Yes.
Our audience is expanding. She wants to know, on kind of the same lines as Chris, what has happened to common courtesy and respect in our society today?
Bad parenting.
Bad parenting. I will go back right to what we just talked about. Unfortunately, the infrastructure for the families has broke down. We have higher divorce rates in single-parent families, more than we've ever had. And I think that's affecting, not just that, we have two-parent families who work. I know I work and my wife works, so we don't have as much time with our children. And so you have to really spend that time with them and teach them, to be respectful for people. And
yeah, it's not all. You can't just talk about kids. I mean, I know tons of adults that are complete dickheads.
I'm going to say it's Facebook's fault.
I'll be doing my run, where I run my 3 miles, and I like to, when I see people hey, good morning, and, some people reply back to me, and some people just look at me like I'm a homicidal maniac about to stab them in the face. It's I'm just saying good morning as I run by you.
I think, here's my own little personal theory on this. Other than the breakdown of our family structure, yeah. I think social media and I think having access to everything at our fingertips has made us less courteous to each other. We spend so much time within our own personal bubble that we forget how to talk to people sometimes. I mean, we become so social, but nobody ever wants to actually interact with each other. Nobody wants to go out and say hi, and nobody has time for anything anymore because they always have somewhere to be or something to do, or they're on their phone and they're in their own personal space, and then you bump into them and then they're just outraged because now they can't, continue reading whatever article they're reading. So
the next time you're with your friends, wear a watch so you can keep track of time, and take your phone and either leave it in your car in your glove box or someplace where you're not going to do it. And if everyone does that, and just do it as an experiment with your friends or your family, where everyone has to put their phones away and you have to actually engage with them. Mm-hmm. And see how much of a difference your time will be.
Hmm. And slow down. Learn to just kind of breathe a little bit, and don't
Mhm.
always be in such a hurry and always be so stressed out. And if someone bumps into you, smile and say, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
Hey,
Rory, the other problem is that we are growing exponentially as a country, and a lot of people are just assholes.
yep. We totally need like a bubonic plague just to like cold
Whoa,
people.
I don't want it. Only if it
No,
targets
just the
the
assholes.
assholes.
Not like us,
We need
but
an
like
asshole plague.
we can somehow make it so the assholes all get it, and
But then,
then
but then, who determines who's the assholes, Ryan? You know,
you and me.
yeah, the Geek Dad
Uh,
report will determine whether you're an asshole. So, oh no. Well, now we got all this heavy stuff. We got a fun
yeah.
little light
You have
question.
anything fun now?
We do.
Talk about butts.
Well, it's kind of a butt. So Phil,
Speaking of butts,
speaking of butts, so a little behind the scenes. A lot of the people who ask questions are our friends and family. We occasionally do get some random questions from people that we aren't friends and family with, but for the most part, it is people that we know. Phil, one of our most loyal viewers from the beginning, at least vocal, like we said,
yeah,
is a friend of mine, and so he's been on board from the very beginning, but we still appreciate it, and he's given us some amazing questions. This question is an inside joke of a story that I was there, and so he wants me to share this story on the air, so I'm gonna do that. So Phil's question is it a bad idea to poop in a biker bar that has no divider between the toilet and the urinal and has no latch or lock on the door? So the quick answer is yes, that's a terrible idea. Don't do that. And the reason why you don't do that, Phil, is because me and Phil and our wives, well, girlfriends at the time, and some friends were all down in this little shithole town at a biker bar having some dinner, and Phil decided to go use the bathroom. So we're all sitting there, and we're just kind of hanging out. We're eating. God, was it? I forget the name of the town. Randall. It's down in Washington. It's this little town out in the middle of nowhere. But you know Sturgis, they have that big biker thing. Well, this is like a huge, like all the people who don't go to Sturgis somehow come to this little shithole town in Washington, and so there's just like hundreds of bikers there. And so we're down there. We don't know it's this weekend, but we get down there. We're like, all right, bikers are just everywhere. So we're hanging out in this little dive restaurant, and on the back side is a bar. So like the restaurant's by itself, and then you walk down this hallway, and then there's a bar in the back. And so Phil says, hey, I got to use the bathroom. We're like, all right, whatever, Phil. So Phil takes off and walks down. Well, the bathroom is shared between the bar and the restaurant. And so Phil's gone for about 5 minutes, and we knew he was taking a dump. And so we're like, all right, whatever. And so I had to pee. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go pee real quick. And so I go in there. So I go in, and I open the door. Well, you know, most bathrooms have 2 or 3 urinals and a couple crappers. And so I'm thinking, whatever. So I walk into the door, doesn't have a latch. I walk in, and I see Phil. So when you first walk in, you look to your immediate right. There's a toilet, a urinal, and a sink, all within probably maybe a 8-foot wall. So it's not very wide at all, and maybe 10-foot wall, but it's not very wide at all. I look there and I see Phil pooping. He's got toilet paper in his hand, and he's looking down in just shame. Right there's this like 300-pound biker peeing, and he's doing this. Oh God. Oh, man. And he's got his hand on Phil's shoulder. Right? And he's like talking. He's like, oh, buddy. Oh, thank God you're here. He's just... And I walk in, and I see this, and then Phil looks up to me, and he's got these eyes of, like, this guy who's like, I've just been caught being victimized. Right? And I'm sitting here, and I'm like,
bravo, Phil.
and so I'm doing this, right? And he's like, get out. I'm like, all right. And so I stand there, and I'm just laughing my ass off, right? I'm just dying laughing. And so this biker comes stumbling out, and he walks. And so Phil comes out a few minutes later, looks at me, points his finger, not a fucking word. I go, I'm good, man. I'm good. And so I go in there,
And
and
so
I'm just
immediately
laughing.
when you got back to the table, he said, "So, do you guys want to know what happened?" Wow.
So I'm sitting here and I'm trying to debate whether I should actually tell people this story or not, because it's a pretty good story to tell.
Yeah.
But I'm a nice guy. I'm a good friend, so I'm not going to tell everybody this story. But I go back to the table and I'm trying to not laugh because I'm still inside just laughing. And so I walk back to the table. Phil looks at me and goes, "Fuck it, tell everybody." So I start laughing, and I tell everybody the story, and he's just sitting there, just like, "Oh man, it was awful." I was like, "Well, what happened?" He's like, "Well, the door opened, and I said, oh, sorry, I'm in here." And the guy goes, "Brother, I don't care. I gotta pee. It ain't nothing gonna stop me." And he goes, and then the guy, he was gonna fall over, and he's leaning on me, and he put his hand on my head at one point, and then on my shoulder. I was like, oh my God.
Awesome.
So the moral
Phil,
of this,
you can have a gold star for this week just for that story, I think.
yeah, Chris, you get a Chris and Laura, you guys had great
Chris
questions
gets a
too.
silver star.
You guys get the silver and bronze. And Brian, you get a participation medal. That was a good that's a good question too.
Yeah.
And medals for everybody tonight. All gold stars. We're giving gold stars to everybody. But Phil, you get the platinum star tonight. That is a
Yes. Chris will get the gold star. Phil can have the platinum.
yeah. Brian,
first
Lori,
plat-
you guys get silver. You guys get silver and bronze. You guys can fight amongst yourself who gets the silver and who gets the bronze. But Phil, thanks for sharing, exposing yourself for our entertainment.
Yes. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Phil.
I appreciate it very much.
So, well, that's all we got for tonight, people. Woo! Throw that out there.
Woo!
Get rid of that. We got our weekly recommendations. We'll make them short since we went a little long tonight.
Yes.
So,
my recommendation this week, I got a company asked me to try out an app. It's called Safari. Crap.
Safari crap.
Safari crap. You go around and look at poop.
You got to shovel. You got
called
to shovel like zebra poop. You're like a shoveler.
It's called Safari Tales. It's for kids. I put it on my iPhone. I let my daughter play it today, and she really likes it. You get like baby elephant, and you get the control and moving around and changing colors. And I'm hitting my microphone.
Yay!
And it's not an episode if I don't knock it down.
That's true.
And you get to make a story, and then you can send the story to your parents so that they can read it to you. What your elephant or lion and leopard and I think a crocodile. But my daughter likes it. It's been a lot of fun. So that's my recommendation this week.
All right. So Safari crap, the app.
Safari Tales. And because I'm going to let them know about this episode,
Safari Tales. It sounds fun. Try it out. I'm guessing
you can get on iOS or Android. So
Android. All right, check it out.
It's $3.99.
Safari Tales. My recommendation this week is the Netflix show Sense8. I talked a little bit.
Super famous.
Yeah, yeah. What Ryan's talking about is when I finished the show, I tweeted out to Sense8 Netflix. I just finished watching the show. Fantastic show. I'm so glad they renewed it for season 2. It's one of the most original and strangely beautiful shows I've ever seen, which proceeded to make my phone completely annihilate. I'm over 100 retweets and like 300 and something favorites, which isn't a ton compared to some people, but for somebody of a very minimal celebrity status as myself, that's a lot. So, yeah, but no, it is an amazing show. It aired, I believe, in the end of June. I talked a little bit on a previous show, but I wanted to finish it and watch the whole thing. It's 12 episodes. It's basically about 8 people who, through an event that happens in the first episode, they all become aware of each other. They can all talk to each other. They can all share each other's, basically take over each other's bodies. And like there's a girl who's a like a street fighter kung fu. She's a badass basically. There's a criminal. There's a doctor. There's a cop, and they all have different walks of life. And obviously there's a bigger grand picture to this whole thing. And in a lot of ways, the story is basically like a comic book. It plays out like a comic book, and the storyline is very much a comic book. It's directed by the Wachowskis, and God, I'm gonna butcher his name. I don't want to say it. He's a comic book guy himself who helped the Wachowskis do it. Michael J. Strikes Now something. I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah, I can look. Hang on, I'll look. I feel like I'm butchering his name, and I don't want to butcher his name. But
I likes it so much.
Yeah, I know. I love the show. I guess I threw away my show sheet that had all the info on it here.
Or you could just turn around in your chair and pick it up off the ground.
Yeah, I could do that too. Or here we go. J. Michael Trzeznowski.
I almost got it right.
You almost got it right. And the Warshawskis, he did it. They did it together. It is an amazing show. I will say this. I'll give a little disclaimer. I wish I didn't have to, but in this day and age, we still do. There are some things in this show that are very hard to watch. It doesn't hold back, and it's very much in your face. I mean, there's one point where it shows all the sensates being born, and it actually shows the leg spread, head coming out of the vagina look on all these children. So
No, I saw that when my kids were born. No.
yeah,
No.
it's cringeworthy, and there's also a lot of LGBT elements of this show. I mean, one of the main stars is a fairly famous transgender actress. The show, there's a gay couple. And they don't hold back at all, nor should they. And they do a great job of showing people from all walks of life. It is by far one of the most diverse casts I've ever seen. I mean, there's a guy from Africa, there's a lady from India, a guy from Spain, a guy from America, a lady from Iceland, white, black, brown. I mean, there's every single race. Well, not every single, obviously, but for the most part, a hugely diverse cast of characters, and like I said, a lot of them are gay and transgender, and what I loved about the show is some of the things in the beginning that are a little uncomfortable because they're very graphic in a lot of things, and they don't hold back. This is the way people live, and the show makes you accept that, and it makes you it shows life as it is, not how we want it to be or how we think it should be. It shows it how it is. And the things that one of the things I loved about the show the most was the things that were kind of uncomfortable early on, by the end felt completely natural. And I give credit to, the Warshawskis and J. Michael Straczynski. They made a show that not only was an amazing, fun show to watch, it made you think, it made you accept some things that maybe you not necessarily didn't accept, but, I mean, I'm a straight married white guy. I'm not around a lot of the stuff that's in some of these shows, and you don't see it all the time. And sometimes when you see it, it can make you uncomfortable. But the thing about the show that's great is it shows it to you. It forces you to say, this is how it is. And by the end, man, like I said, it became something that wasn't even remotely uncomfortable. And it was quite beautiful, actually. And it's a very, I hope everybody watches this show. It's an amazing show. I know everybody won't, because some people will find some of the stuff very offensive and they just won't watch it because of that, which is too bad, because it's a really good show. And I am super excited for season 2. So good job, Netflix. Well done, Warshawskis and J. Michael Straczynski. If I'm butchering your name, I apologize horribly. I am very I can't say proud of Netflix, but I'm very happy that Netflix decided to take a chance on something very much more risky than what you normally see, and something that people could easily find offensive, and just said, nope, this is what we're going to do, and this is the way it is. And it was amazing. It was a great show.
I've been meaning to check that one out. So
I highly, highly recommend Sense8 on Netflix. All episodes are available to stream. It's a show that you can consume all in one sitting. I broke it up over a couple weeks, but it's very good, and it was very well done. I'm very excited for season 2 though, because it ends. If this would have been the only season, I would have been very angry, because the way it ends totally sets up for way more seasons. So.
Or you can get Safari Tales on iOS and Android.
So yeah, so watch Sense8 and get Safari Tales on Android, or I recommend on iTunes on the App Store.
I'll have to try it on my iPad. I haven't checked it on that yet, but I think that's it for the show.
That's it. That's all the time we got. We went way over our time. I don't think what's cool about now that we have the podcast audience. I don't think we have necessarily a time, so we'll just.
We'll see. I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm tired too. So midnight. On that note, adios, guys. We'll see you next week. Have a lovely weekend.
For all you guys listening on audio, you can listen to us next week.
What is that? Audio difficulties.
Yes.
Don't forget to. Well, before I play the music, please, everyone, don't forget to subscribe. Give us a rate on iTunes. Let us know what you think. Subscribe to the show, Watch, Play, Read, WPR shows.
Send us an email at gdr@podhell.com.
And like us on Facebook.
Yes.
On that note.
Hang on,
where's it at?
Drop that beat.
I remember coming up, not even a buck, ain't even a cent to make enough. We was out there chasing after stuff that you only find in your dreams of the nights when you're looking up. And I remember so many times it was looking tough, so I wrote an extra rhyme when I took the bus.